Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, everybody is wrong about Karrion Kross.
Excited about SmackDown getting good again? Don't be.
Got an update on Zoey Stark after that horrible injury.
And Roman Reigns might be featuring in an iconic movie role.
Yes. Oh yeah. I'm Andy.
I'm Michael.
And this is the news. All right. Let's kick this one off by talking about Karrion Kross. He has been a topic of conversation in WWE spaces for a while now. A lot of people going, hey, he's really fun. Why is he not being pushed?
Yeah.
A lot of discussion on that. Also a lot of conspiracy theories doing the rounds, which we covered earlier in the week. You can check that video out on Monday. I think we titled it like the real reason WWE isn't pushing Karrion Kross at the moment. It's an interesting thing to talk about because he's completely changed his on-air personality over the past year or so.
Yeah.
Going from super serious man to silly goose in a lot of ways. It's a lazy comparison, but I make it every time because I am lazy. I think it's a lot reminiscent of Sean O'Hare's last gimmick in WWE, the Devil's Advocate stuff he was doing. It's a little bit different, but similar. Anyway, Mr. Kross was on what the hell
Ariel
am I
Helwani.
talking about? Helwani,
Yeah.
yes. Sorry. I almost said Sam Roberts. Shoutouts to Sam Roberts, by the way. Lovely man.
Interview him on the channel?
We did, yeah. No, it's coming out soon.
It's coming out soon.
He's got a great look, Sam Roberts, I think. Very handsome. All of us are. All of us balls.
He's Moxley-esque,
He
I
is.
think, Sam Roberts.
He is.
Or like Moxley is Roberts-esque, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whichever you prefer.
Either way.
Yeah.
Either way. Have you ever seen them in the same room at the same time?
Not for me.
No, exactly.
The Death Rider himself, Sam Roberts.
Yeah. So shout out to Sam. That interview's going out soon. It's really good. But yes, he was on Ariel Helwani's show yesterday. And obviously a lot of people talking after that work shoot promo he did after WrestleMania where he was like, go F yourself and all this stuff.
Yeah.
People were like, hey, is he annoyed? Is he pissed off? He's not pissed off. He's not disgruntled, in his words. He's just very hungry. Get that man a burger. He said, the biggest misconception anyone can take from what I said on WrestleMania was that I'm disgruntled. I'm not. I'm just really, really hungry, man. I'm really hungry. All of this is coming from a place of passion. It's all about the grand scheme of things. People are paying to come and watch the greatest show in the world. It's not the NBA, mate. I want to be a reason on the show where they felt that they got every single cent worth of that. I want to be more than just an Easter egg. That's a good line because he was kind of an Easter egg in that AJ Styles match with Logan Paul. He was the best thing in that match, actually.
Yeah.
But later on, he felt that maybe Ariel asked him, were people misconstruing your comments a little bit? And he said, I'm not complaining. It's using your voice, speaking up and saying, I'm here. I want to be here. I want to give you the best of what I have. Later on, he was asked about what he thinks like fans want from him in WWE, and he said he thinks he wants people to see him going back to demolishing people and that kind of stuff. He did say it's difficult to give you what I gave you in NXT and all that stuff. But he spoke about like authenticity and theatrics a little bit. There's a starvation for authenticity that the audience wants right now. I know it's specifically from me, but I feel it's in general. People can feel like the difference between theatrics, which obviously are still appreciated, and then there's a difference between somebody being real. That, I think, has always drawn people in. Yeah, the duality of Kross really is evident in the persona he plays on WWE TV, and then watching him show up in like Bloodsport and do like the shoot badass kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like it's an interesting little clash. Theatrics are a pretty interesting thing to bring up because his entrance is very theatrical. But what do you think of Mr. Kross, his whole situation in this latest interview?
There's a lot to unpack
There is.
here. Right. I think so Karrion Kross talks about authenticity. This is going to be editorialising our opinion rather than like Murray has delivered you the facts of what got said, and it's definitely worth going and checking out Karrion Kross's interview for yourself in full to take what you want to take from it. I think when Karrion Kross talks about authenticity, he is a quite unique figure in that the authentic side of his work physically is Bloodsport. It's something that he loves, and it's something that he has an obvious passion about. There was the documentary he made about his WrestleMania weekend, or more specifically, I guess, his Vegas weekend, his hometown, and him not really featuring in a big way at WrestleMania, but featuring in a massive way at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. So that side of the physical game, that's his authentic self. And yet, the side of the pro wrestling game that's his most authentic self is the Patter King. And that's ultimately where we've crossed the Rubicon with Karrion Kross. And when he talks about being an Easter egg, I love that line too.
Yeah, it's
because
a good line.
It's the fact that Karrion Kross brilliantly has made himself an Easter egg in about 90% of the top line feuds in WWE while being involved in none of them. Like when he said, "Oh, you know when so and so turned heel." That was me. Or like he'll linger backstage, or like when he was one week he was talking to Sami Zayn and had his hair, then the next week it was AJ and he had his hair, and so on. And it's like he's the kind of the straw that stirs the drink, but. That's all well and good. It was when he got quite funny with it and when he started just using his deadpan delivery in the Twitter videos or like doing that there, which might even feature on the thumbnail, that scary-eyed look of his, like that look down the lens, when he was doing it into the eyes of the people he was talking to. It's really funny.
Yeah.
So there's two kinds of authentic with Karrion Kross. There's the physical and then there's the promo performer version. And I wish he was talking more about the promo performer version because I personally think it's that authenticity.
Yeah.
There's like him coming out and like having intense matches is not for me, but it might have been for someone like say Triple H in NXT in that 2020 run. The least authentic bit about those very serious matches was like the serious eyes and the fall and prayer. Because then when you see this Pata come out, he's this affable, like funny guy. Yeah,
the Jesse Ventura impersonation.
One of those wrestlers, like none of them are your friends and none of them are your mates, but I say this term loosely, looks like somebody would be really fun to have a pint with.
Yeah, definitely.
Just comes across like a great guy, and that real element of him that was finally coming through seems to be what's turned him from this guy that like a section of the audience likes and maybe could get a bit more TV time to the man that now gets his t-shirts sold in buildings even when he's not advertised for shows.
Yeah.
That's been what's like, and I hope Karrion Kross gets that too. I think he does, but I would hate for him to want so much to be like the guy in the gi. You know, like, sure. Do you know what? I think it's interesting that we mentioned Bloodsport. Sorry, I've waffled too long about this. I feel like I'm watching Natalya go through the same thing at the moment as well. Mm-hmm. I think she's living through this same almost like, it's not a crisis, but it's like a kind of not quite knowing where to fit best in 2025 pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, she was feeling herself at Bloodsport. That was electrifying to watch her have this one night where she got to like clearly burst out of a shell.
Sure.
And then you've seen it a little bit again with the indie date she did for
the Kenzie Page match.
For the NWA.
For the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah. And then goes immediately to Raw and has to drop back into being Natalya again. Yeah. And that's the platform and that's the big stage and that's the, and like it's maybe this is a new reality of WWE working with other promotions. Maybe this is like a WWE that's going to feature other wrestlers in other spaces, makes their creative like chemistry change a bit, and they themselves are trying to work out where they fit best. And I think Karrion Kross is in, and I get it as well because he's probably never been closer to smashing that glass ceiling in WWE.
Absolutely.
So he's going to want to be really considered about what he's saying in these kind of public settings because he's this close.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
He's this close to a money spot, and that must be when you're a wrestler. That must be such a delicate tightrope to walk.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, authenticity is the most important thing in wrestling. For any guy or girl, it's like. It's number one on the list. I have to believe, like, for me to suspend my disbelief and immerse in the fiction, I have to believe that you believe in this stuff.
Yeah.
And that what we're seeing is something you are fully invested in and you buy into. And in a lot of cases, that's a reflection of the person themselves. So, like, Eddie Kingston, he's not playing a tough, gritty dude from Yonkers on TV. He's that guy. Mm-hmm. Will Ospreay, when he cut the opening promo on last night's Dynamite, he's speaking from the heart. He feels real. He feels sincere. Actually, Ospreay is a really good comparison for this because a couple of years ago, he was doing the kind of Conor McGregor-esque gimmick in New Japan with the robe and like swaggering about and stuff, and it felt as fake as could be.
Eddie Kingston with a gas cannon versus The Rock with a flamethrower.
Yeah, there you go.
There are two sort of similar situations.
Different versions of it. For me, a lot of the problems I've had with Gunther's presentation this year is because he feels less authentic. The reason that I think that he succeeded so well on the main roster up until 2024 turned into 2025, for me personally, is because he was still der Ring General. He wasn't faffing about and saying people need to respect Logan Paul, which to me feels fake and lame and inauthentic. I think it's a reason, aside from tribal nonsense, why a lot of people have some issues maybe with CM Punk's stuff in WWE. And obviously your mileage may vary on all of this. So it's an interesting thing to bring up, and he's right when it comes to authenticity. There is a bit of a dearth of it at the moment. Mm-hmm. So he's absolutely right. I personally hope that he gets everything he wants because he seems like a good dude. And the personality-driven stuff he's doing, I think, is some of the funniest work of his career.
Yeah.
And if you go and watch like his Chris Van Vliet workout video and stuff, you see that he's just a funny, personable dude.
Yeah.
So, hey, who knows how it's going to...
It was almost a shock when that dropped, wasn't it? Because he was so stoic and serious on screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
When that came out, wait, I was like, where's that guy?
Is Jesse Ventura in the room? What's going on? What's going on? So, yeah, hopefully lots more fun stuff to come from Mr. Kross. But also, I like him coming out and he's speaking honestly about like the promo and stuff, and like a lot of people got the wrong end of the stick from that. I think you always have to be a bit dubious of like work shoot stuff, because look, WWE put it out on their platform, you know, like whenever this stuff happens, somebody has had the final say. It's like MJF calling Tony Khan an effing mark. Yep. Tony Khan consented to that going out on his TV show. It's not like, you know, it's holding it hostage.
You kind of know when the performers are acting outside of the boundaries of the show.
Exactly. And that doesn't make it any less enjoyable, but it's the truth of the situation. So a shout out to Karrion Kross to sum up.
My last comment on Karrion Kross is that I would like him to get more TV time. So maybe the best way to do that is to head over to SmackDown, because there's absolutely loads going spare. And it looks like it's going to stay that way for a little bit longer, with apologies to people that want to enjoy the blue brand again. The stories were that SmackDown was going to go back to 2 hours in June. This is based on various comments that were made, well, kind of last year when it first went to 3. Triple H at one point had made a point. It was like, yeah, I think it's going to be June. They were being vague about it, but like we were all given, it's like crawling through the desert and seeing the Coke machine and just being, there it is. Well, it's wrong. It was a mirage. It was a phony. According to PW Insider Elite anyway, they've noted that the schedules currently may be outdated, but there's been talk of the show's planned move back to 2 hours might not happen next month. The reality of this is maybe closer to what we used to talk about all the time when Raw was on USA Network. Like there was many years where there was desperation amongst fans for it to go back to, ironically, right before it ended when it was good at 3 hours, but there was, decades of it being too long for its own good. But USA Network are obviously thrilled with the extra hour of ad revenue, and even an underperforming SmackDown is an overperforming network TV show. So USA Network, that relationship that we've often talked about that goes back decades between WWE and USA, will ultimately be the thing that takes priority of, shall we say, fan interest in this show that has badly fallen off in 2025. They have not ever really figured out how to fill that third hour. They've maybe tried to like pad it out with longer matches, or they've done you see a lot more impromptu stuff now, or WWE reverting back to screwy finishes and the like just to pad out the time and the stories on SmackDown. Not been a great year 2025. The third hour is not the only reason. I don't want to like sort of get Triple H out of jail, because he was definitely booking a good 3 hour Raw in 2022 and 2023. I saw them with my own eyes. There's an ignorance or a laziness or something. There is something at the core of SmackDown that has made it feel like a failing brand in this 3 hour era, and that era for now is not coming to an end.
No, it certainly isn't. I mean, personally, the only time I want to spend 3 hours doing anything in June is if Denis Villeneuve, Timothée Chalamet and Javier Bardem are involved every couple of years. You're right, like SmackDown has fallen off a little bit in the 3 hour format. Still some good stuff on there. Obviously, I sit here and put Jacob Fatu over every possible chance. But yeah, it definitely feels like a stretch. Ultimately, a lot of this is going to be dictated by ad revenue and like what the network is getting out of it. And yeah, sure, you can look at SmackDown's numbers this year and go, okay, they're only pulling like 1.2, 1.3 million a week, and it's down from last year when it was on Fox, obviously, broadcast versus cable. But these shows, like it's like the CW story about NXT the other day. Like these wrestling shows, if you're a cable network, chances are if you pop a wrestling show on your cable network, it's going to be among the highest rated things on that network, because people are super hungry for live sports, and this is at least sport adjacent. So, hey, personally, I would welcome a return to the 2 hour format. It would just be a more enjoyable show. Sometimes more is less, and that's often the case when it comes to show length in pro wrestling. So we will see how that pans out.
The gulf between SmackDown and Raw, not just creatively, but in terms of how WWE is once again presenting Raw as the flagship, has been very pronounced since the Netflix move as well.
Totally.
Like they've not made any secret of basically about that. All the stars, maybe bar Cody or Cena or whatever, live here on a Monday. Get what else you get on Friday. So,
go away. Right, let's talk about Zoey Stark. She had that horrible injury on Raw. We covered that on Tuesday. Her leg went away. A leg is not supposed to go. Lots of concern because she was like, she tried to limp out with her arm over the trainer or the medic's shoulder. She couldn't do it. It had to be picked up. She was very upset, in a lot of pain. little bit of an update from Wrestling Observer Radio. That match had to be changed, obviously, on the fly. WWE didn't want to pin Kairi Sane in that triple threat with Rhea Ripley. It was her first match back, but there was no alternatives given the situation. Yeah, I mean, fair. If Rhea's going to advance, you'd imagine Rhea would have pinned Zoey.
Yeah.
And then that. But yeah, like Kairi losing on her first night back. Yeah, it's not ideal, but sometimes the world is not ideal, and terrible things like this happen. Now, Zoey has chimed in on Twitter with a quick update, saying, while the love and support means more to me than you'll ever know, what hurts more than my knee is knowing I won't be able to perform for you all for a while. I love what I do and I'm blessed to do this. And the saying goes, the comeback is greater than the setback. Love you guys. # Stark Marks. So no word on the severity of the injury as of yet. No word on exactly how long she's going to be out. But, I mean, visually it was horrible, so you can only hope that how do you phrase this? You can only hope that it looked worse than it actually is in situations like this. And best wishes to her on her return. You hate to see stuff like this.
Absolutely. It's we've all watched enough of wrestling to know that this is the thing that the wrestlers themselves will tell you can and does happen, and it's awful that it does. But yeah, it's I think it's like what we know now more about say things like mental health is that obviously wrestlers go through multiple stages of grief over a situation like this. They're not just losing, like, say, mobility for a while, or like who knows, like how her leg will be when it recovers. They're losing time in the ring. They're losing time, and on the clock, because your bump clock is only so big. You're aging and all that sort of stuff. But also, TKO will release injured wrestlers sometimes. So even that isn't that sort of like, wrestling itself is this insecure and difficult industry, and then people are off the clock and off the road and can still somehow be taken off the books completely. So it's like must be such a stressful time to go down hurt for such a long period. So all the very best to Zoey. And I will say as well, one of the benefits of getting hurt in wrestling, as few as they are, is that generally it comes with like a massive return or a big pop and all that sort of stuff. People will remember this, and when she has fully recovered, I think the reaction will be in kind to the shock and the sort of the sadness around it in the first place.
It's an opportunity for a full fresh start because like obviously her stable mates in the Pure Fusion Collective are no longer with WWE, and it was like how does Zoey fit in going forward now? Like, obviously, I obviously wish this injury did not happen. So hopefully they can come up with something really cool for her when she comes back. So, best wishes.
Switching gears to Hollywood, after 5 years of producing cinema in WWE, Roman Reigns is apparently going to do some in LA.
You're on.
He is, per Fightful Select and Deadline, he is in consideration for a role in the new Street Fighter movie. Now, I haven't played Street Fighter since the 90s, nor have I watched any kind of cinematic adaptation of Street Fighter other than the one that Kylie Minogue stole in the mid-90s. But he's going to play potentially a character, if he gets cast, called Akuma. I don't know if Akuma is harder than M. Bison or E. Honda or Blanca.
Well, he's the guy from The Lion King, isn't he? Akuma Matata.
Oh, that's him. Right, so Roman's going to be Mr. Matata.
That's him.
Acknowledge him.
It's the guy who plays up front for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, so he's going to be in Street Fighter, the football movie. They're going to actually have a fight in a Crystal Palace. That's one of the new levels.
But the Crystal Palace is in the ravine where Simba gets rushed by.
I thought it was like the bonus level where you have to smash the car, and now you have to smash a Crystal Palace.
Also, it's in The Lion King.
So Roman Reigns is going to be in The Lion King, confirmed, coming to Disney Plus, but also might be in Street Fighter. Yeah, I want to point out that Fight Select and Deadline say he is being considered. There's no sort of a set role yet. It was as of May 21st that Roman Reigns was in talks to be in this live-action Street Fighter film. As you can tell, we're kind of cinephiles, myself and Maurice, so we kind of already have all the details on the Street Fighter movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get hyped.
I was a big Street Fighter guy, but I was Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat in my childhood. Street Fighter 2 on the Mega Drive, baby. Actually, we played Street Fighter on the staff Christmas night out this year. And my old tactic in Street Fighter is just go E Honda and slap the spam. He does this really fast spam thing, and like a lot of people can't figure out, so you spam that.
Yeah.
Some people don't know how to get past that, so I beat everybody, and then I played Michael Sidgwick, who like whooped my ass.
He was the Lex Luger to your Yokozuna. You destroyed all of America, and then Lex Luger turned up.
Pretty much. I think he was Dalsum, and he just did stretchy arms. And I was like, you son of a gun. But yeah, I think Akuma has red hair. So we'll see. Red hair Roman.
Red hair Roman. I don't mind that.
He was obviously in Hobbs and Shaw. He wasn't in it much. He just did some wrestling moves and hung out with The Rock.
I want him to do something with that big fella from Minecraft because he reminded me of Roman Reigns.
Jack Black?
No, the other one. There was another fella like...
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, that's him. He had like long hair and a beard.
Aquaman, yeah.
It was the Akuma,
Yes.
as you can tell, I'm kind of an expert. The big fella from Minecraft
The big boy.
reminded me of Roman Reigns.
I mean, they look almost identical.
Yeah, and I thought they could do something together.
Jason looks like more of a wild man than Roman. But yeah,
I've seen some stuff.
Cool. They can be a tag team, man. Why not? Let's
Bring him in.
Team up in Minecraft.
Oh my God! Like if Moxley never wants to re-sign with the WWE, just bring him in the Shield, and Seth's like, I'm seeing double.
Sierra Hotel. Yeah, why not? Let's do that.
India, Jason.
Jason.
Shield.
Gee whiz.
There we go. We've done that then.
All right, we're going to wrap this one up today. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed your time here, I love you. Here's a video that you're going to enjoy. The algorithm thinks you're going to like this one. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure what it is, but hey, look.
Who are we doubting?
If wrong, blame Robot Will Smith. It was his fault. So slap it away like he did to... Yeah, bye.
See you later.
That was rude. Actually, it was...
They'll slap this video.
I thought it was great, actually, the slap.
Robot?
Yeah, no, the slap.
Okay.
Bye.